The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Esley, and I am joined by a guy who I am pretty certain has never seen me speechless before. But at this moment in time, we're close, Regz.
It has to have happened one other time, right?
When?
That's a good point. I don't know. We'd really have to go back and figure it out.
I don't think that there's been a time where I have been completely speechless before. And I'm not right now, but I'm close.
Have you realized I just looked at the calendar? I was like, we've known each other for 21 years.
Yeah.
That just blew my brain.
Actually, you know what's funny? Tonight, that's so funny you said that, because tonight we were sitting at dinner with Andrew's mom and her sister and her brother-in-law, and someone said something about like an age gap, and it kind of surprised everyone. And I was like, well, consider this. Like, when I was 21 years old, my seniors were born.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's when you think about things in that perspective, now we do feel a lot older.
I know.
Like,
yeah.
It's kind of wild. Like, I don't feel it.
I was about to say,
overall,
saying the number makes me feel old. I don't feel that old.
No, if you ask me, I still feel like I'm, in most ways, I feel like I'm still 20 years old. But, in other ways, like this, shoulder injury is still, it's cracking, and it's, the whole thing. But in our 21 years, I don't know that I've ever been speechless.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the baseball team has me close.
I don't know what's happening. I love that it's the Nationals. Like, it's the most fun while the Mets are also imploding in their home stadium. So again, unless it was against the Mets, it'd be just a little bit more fun. But against this team, who I think really thought maybe after the first game they were going to kind of roll us, and to have it keep happening like this is just hilarious. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, and we're gonna dig in more to all of this, but I do want to shout out Beaker and thank him very much for his words after game one about, if there's any team we want to beat, it would be the Phillies. And I got what he was saying. The message wasn't like a negative Phillies comment.
Yeah,
it was more just, their fans always take over our stadium, so we want to win when they come here. But I might have woke up the boys a little bit. Maybe woke up the boys a little bit, and we're gonna get there, Regz. We're gonna get there. We're gonna talk all about it. It has been a fun week of sports since we last talked. The U.S. has clinched. They're advanced to the knockouts. They're currently playing, and they're up on Turkey already, 1-0 in like the 10th minute. They scored in like the 5th minute or something, like, and they're not even playing anybody tonight. Like, they sat there for their best players. We had 2 out of 3 from the Mets. We just had a historic 3 out of 4 with the Nats. The Sixers made a draft pick. Devontae Smith got married, and Jalen Hurts was doing line dancing at the wedding and smiling, and
I thought that was AI. I thought that was AI at first. I was like, somebody made this video up. Somebody put this in the chat GPT.
Our quarterback doesn't smile.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And for those of you here for football, I'm sorry to let you down. Please stick around. We're not doing any football tonight. The Eagles will take a back seat until we are back in 2 weeks, and then we will start a position-by-position breakdown that will take us right up till opening kick. But we are going to quickly highlight the Sixers draft pick, and then we are going to hone in on your Philadelphia Phillies, who are just the best team in baseball since Donnie Baseball has taken over. We'll get more into that here in a little bit, but let's talk about Labaron Philon, the 6'3" guard out of Alabama. Reg's initial thoughts on this were, well, this is basically, we just replaced the draft pick that we traded
Yeah.
for this guy. But
Yeah.
the more I sat and reflected on it, the more that we have to understand we're talking about two different regimes now. And so what Daryl Morey did is not tied to what this regime is doing.
Right.
So he traded that player, right? But it's clear and it's evident after the playoffs that they needed that player because Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecomb were playing far too many minutes in those two series in the postseason. And it cost them. Those guys were exhausted. So they technically only really have 6 guys on this team right now. And a lot of depth needs to be acquired. But I like the profile of the player. He's a kid who can score pretty much from anywhere. He creates his own shot, finds places on the court to score, like creates his own space. And the other thing that I like about him is that he is a very, very good defender. That's kind of what he went to Alabama to do and then turned himself into a really good scorer and a high octane offense. So from a first glance perspective, I like it. Obviously, this team has a lot of work to do. They're playing team, like, I feel like ceiling. I don't think that their ceiling goes higher than that just because we know the regular season is going to be a lot of no Joe, no PG, right? So initially, I like it as a depth move. I don't see him on the floor with both guards at the same time at any point. But
Yeah.
your thoughts initially?
I think it was an initial like, taking another slightly undersized guard. I think when you think about it, the depth thing makes sense because they absolutely had to get deeper at that position. And I think to do that at the pick they were at, with a lot of people thinking that like this guy's pretty good. Like they weren't, some people had him a little higher, some people had him going a little sooner.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
So I think they took the best available guy to them. He happened, this just it happens to be that this is his size and the position he plays. So I think a lot of people here like, okay, first round draft pick, they expect somebody who's going to come in and potentially, be a starter, be a cornerstone. But I think, especially in NBA drafts, it tends to drop off pretty quick. Like once you get to sort of 11, 12, even maybe like on a really good year, 15, after that, you're really looking at, you just want reliable guys that will be in your rotation, and bring something to the team. So I think in that sense, they absolutely needed guard depth. Hopefully this guy can be a primary ball handler, on your second unit. If Maxey's getting a blow, then maybe him and VJ, can be in at the same time. I'm not sure you want him and Maxey in at the same time, with their size and defense. It's unfortunate, guys can try really hard, but eventually the size matters in the NBA. And it makes a difference when you're 6'3", no matter how hard you're playing, obviously that makes a difference, and will continue to. So look, I think the good things are, I've really seen nothing but like good character things. He seems to be a really competitive kid. I think he'll come in and work hard, following the example of Tyrese and VJ. I think it's great that he has those two guys to look up to, and I think the ultimate goal is, like you said, to give these guys some minutes and have a guy who can create, who can handle the ball, and can lead, a second unit and not have it be a massive minus when Tyrese and VJ have to be off the floor.
Yeah. I think you're spot on. Like I think that there's there's more that goes into these picks than this guy has to be he has to be a scorer who can go to the bucket all the times, right? Like we talk about culture on this show all the time, specifically with the Sixers. And they brought in guys like Maxey and Edgecomb who have started to turn that culture in a different direction, right? And it seems like this is a kid who, again, like similar to Maxey and Edgecomb, very emotional when he was picked. It played in a good program. Like Alabama's turned itself into a good basketball program. What were they, a 1 or 2 seed this year?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
I'd have to look it up too, but they were one of the higher seeds, one of the better teams in the country. So he's coming with pedigree, and you mentioned he was all over the board, like all over the board. Now this is an organization that has a lot of work to do because essentially it's Philon, Maxey, Edgecomb, Embiid, George, Bona, and Justin Edwards. Like that's their roster right now. Right?
Oubre's a free agent?
Oubre's a free agent.
He is, that's right.
So they do not have like any depth whatsoever anywhere.
Yeah.
Like Justin Edwards is PG's backup. Bona is Joel's backup, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't have depth. They don't even have a fifth starter at the moment. So it's a tall task what's in front of this organization right now. I like the pick. I think we need to stop treating NBA draft picks in the 20s like they don't matter anymore. Maxey is a perfect example of what it can turn into, right, with the right player. And I think that this kid could be the right player, judging by where he was ranked in terms of like just the polarization of who he was as a player.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll, as things happen, we will certainly, I think free agency starts this week. So it turns pretty quickly.
I mean, it's going. There's been a ton of trades and like some pretty high profile ones. That have been going on in the NBA just in general.
Well, heat culture, be honest.
Well, yeah, that and LaMelo going to Minnesota, Detroit trading Isaac Stewart, like, there's been all kinds of stuff going on.
You wonder with money if some of these, like if certain players, like depth role players, fall into the Sixers' lap at some point.
It's such a weird thing now with all the aprons in the NBA that there's almost nothing more valuable than role guys, like cheaper role guys.
Yeah.
And so there's such a ridiculous commodity because of the amount of money that like upper echelon players are making.
Right.
Like you just saw the Washington give Trae Young like $50+ million a year. Like
how about
I think I was listening to somebody today say Giannis's next contract, he'd be at like 70 million.
Yeah.
Like it's like absurd amounts of money for these upper echelon guys. So look, they will be fighting, with a lot of teams for depth, for, quality depth pieces.
Yeah.
And I really do. The biggest thing that we have talked about a bunch, but I'm hoping with this new, change of leadership at the top, that the decisions are made more so based on VJ and Maxey and not Joel.
I think that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
I completely agree. But like that, like we need to see it happen, right? We need to see that's the sea change. You're obviously not trying to get players that will detract from Joel Embiid, of course, but you have to get players that complement VJ and Tyrese.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that there's much more to really say here, bud. I think it's kind of all been laid out from the perspective of they want to build around those two moving forward. They're going to have PG, they're going to have Embiid, but the team is going to run around two elite players.
Yep.
Young elite players. And I think even Joel has sort of accepted that. Like you could see it when he came back in the postseason this year, that he was kind of willing to let, Tyrese take over games and and kind of fall back and be a second option, and maybe this year he'll be a third because
Yeah.
maybe VJ takes the next step. The last thing I'll say here is that, you know, we got to think back to Maxey as a rookie. You know, he had some big games, made some big shots, had some big moments, but again, like VJ is a different story. This isn't the number 3 overall pick. This guy's not going to come in and light up the Boston Garden for 30 in his first game.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, that's
no,
there's
it's not going
such
to be
a there's such
it's
a
not that
big
type of
difference in
player.
expectations. And I think
Yeah.
even VJ exceeded all of them that
Yeah,
we had.
yeah.
Like, so you have to sort of give the caveat that, like, yeah, he was the 3rd overall pick, but like there's still not a lot of them that come in and do what he did. So I think the biggest thing for this guy is, can he look like ready for this level of competition?
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing. Can he translate the things that he was good at in college, right? Or that he sees as his elite skills?
Right.
Do those translate to the NBA where everybody's bigger, faster, stronger? You know, all those things.
No, it's a fair
That
point.
that was even the thing we were wondering about VJ, right? We're like, okay, like he was an okay shooter. We knew he was a really good defender, really athletic. Like, could he finish at the rim? Like, it was a struggle in college. Now it's going to be even harder, right? In the NBA. And he proved a lot of those things wrong. And I think the biggest thing with this kid is that he doesn't have to prove it against like elite talent. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to prove it against starters. He needs to prove it against when you're in, like, with second units, right? When you're getting your opportunity, that's where he needs to be really good. And then hopefully that he builds and builds and builds to being like, you know, that rotation guy that if VJ's out or Tyrese is out, he's able to run the offense. He's able to score against, you know, more of the starter types. I really would be looking for him to be like, hopefully really good against second units, you know, as sort of the lead ball handler, playmaker on those things. And then in next year, right, it's like, okay, how about against the, you know, starters every once in a while, and on, you know, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I think it's be comfortable, grow, be coachable, learn, and
get some confidence in yourself also, just like
take your steps as you're ready to, because this team, as I said, this team's ceiling is the playing game. Like that's what we're talking about. You know, I think that's okay for this coming year. I don't know what the contracts look like after this year and how it all plays out, right? But basketball contracts, and like you said, the all the things with the aprons, I don't understand 90% of it. Like, I've gotten myself to understand the football cap, but the basketball stuff blows my mind, man. It's all over the place. So welcome to Philly, Labaron. We're excited to have you, buddy.
That's right.
We're excited. We're excited to have you. I know you're listening somewhere.
Just work hard, man. That's all we ask.
That's all we ask. You'll learn that quickly. I'm sure Tyrese will, you know, he'll tell him. He'll tell him, right? Like that's all we want is
he does genuinely seem like a good kid who
he does
wants to put the work in. So I think, you know, considering how past drafts have gone with first round draft picks, like if we can just keep finding them in the mold of VJ Edgecomb, right? I'm cool with that.
Yeah, they don't make them like Tyrese and VJ all the time.
No,
right?
they
like
don't.
That's not how, unfortunately, it's not the way that
those are the types of guys you're looking for, right? I think we're headed in the right direction.
That's fair. That's fair way to put it. All right, bud. You want to talk some baseball?
Yeah, am I gonna have to do all the talking since you're speechless?
No, I think I got you.
You're back.
I'm back. So when we last spoke to you, we were very angry about the Mets beating the Phillies in a game that just felt like the Phillies kept kicking down the road. I think like where we got it, like we are so stuck in this Nationals situation that we aren't even thinking about what happened on Saturday night.
Yeah,
we had a 3 home run game, and
that's right.
2 home runs in an inning, 3 home runs in all by Kyle, and a cycle.
Yeah,
in the same night by Bryce, and like we're so removed from that because of everything.
I know.
It was so fun to do to Peralta too. Like that was just so much fun. And then I was there on Sunday with my dad, saw Bryce homer again, saw Kyle homer again. Um, Wheels just did his thing. Like, good Lord, he was awesome. We actually stood next to a woman, but she was by herself. She's a Mets fan. She was wonderful. She was wonderful to stand next to. She was talking to my dad like they were buds. Like, totally knew her team sucked. Like, just a wonderful human. I really enjoyed her. So shout out to her. But so the dominance of the Mets was fun. I hope they can go into City and do it again here, because
wouldn't that be something?
Well, yeah, because City's been a nightmare for them.
It has.
It's been an absolute nightmare for them, and I certainly would be remiss if I didn't mention that, because as well as the Phillies are playing, we all know that a good trip to Citi Field could ruin absolutely everything.
Yep.
We know that. Now, they don't have a pitcher announcannounced for tomorrow. They actually don't have a pitcher announced for the entire weekend at this point.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So we'll have Wheeler, Rangel, and Luzardo going this weekend, but they do not have anybody.
Well, they just
anybody
traded
announced.
Peterson, so
they did. Yes, they did. So that sucks because he sucks. So I would have loved to have seen him.
Yeah,
again.
it would have been nice, right?
It would have been wonderful if he was starting tomorrow night. But they seem totally lost as an organization right now. Simeon just went on the IL.
Yeah.
I do really like that Carson Bench kid. He tortured us a little bit. But I want to go back to the fun that was the 15-3 game. And everything that happened. Kyle hitting 2 balls in the same inning to basically the same spot.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, like, look, I understand everybody being really angsty about the triple, like, and how it was scored. Like, I get it. But by letter of the law, it technically is a triple.
Why would anyone who's a Phillies fan be angsty about it?
Well, because people don't like Bryce, Regz. Like, they don't want to see Bryce. Like, I mean, we hear it from on our own radio waves. Like, I have to argue my own family sometimes about Bryce. Like, people, for whatever reason, whether it's the way he carries himself, the comments sometimes, the body language on the field, the not running out ground balls, or running too hard and being too aggressive and getting thrown out when you shouldn't. Like, I don't know what it is and why he's so polarizing to our fan base, but I hope people don't forget that he like changed the culture of Philadelphia baseball when he signed here.
Yep.
Like I'm not sitting here and saying that he's the reason they started winning, because I still think that's Kyle Schwarber. But he was the free agent that showed other free agents it was okay to come to Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to like him for any other reason, like him for that, because we wouldn't have Kyle Schwarber here if it weren't for him. JT would not be, well, JT came first, Bryce came second.
Yes. But we did have to re-sign JT.
But we did get to re-sign JT because of Bryce Harper. Like, these types of things would not have happened without Bryce Harper. Like, Bedlam at the Bank wouldn't have happened without, like, the World Series appearance may not have happened without Bryce Harper. And I understand that if you like a certain type of baseball player and whatever, fine. But if you couldn't at least be semi-excited about seeing the cycle for that guy, and just like for 5 minutes, bite your tongue. And look, there were a lot of people from other fan bases criticizing it too. But, if you're a Mets fan, yell at your shortstop who's an idiot.
Yeah, right.
Throwing home in a 12-run game.
Right.
Like, that's on your players. That's not on Bryce.
Yeah.
That he threw to the wrong base. That's just being an idiot.
Yeah.
But man, that was such a fun. Like, you almost forgot that Sanchi was pitching that game.
You did. I did. Literally, I did forget. It was
Because
it was. Look, it's crazy to have two guys that are capable of those things, right? Like, there's not a lot of other guys that do what Schwarber does. There's not a lot of guys that, in my opinion, can get you as excited as when Bryce is like really going. Like, Kyle's one thing, But when Bryce is really going and hitting those like opposite field missiles and, just doing that kind of stuff, it it feels like everyone's used to Kyle doing what he does, but Bryce is the thing that like really turns the knob. You know what I mean? Like if that dude's really going, this team like lights up. I don't know what better way to put it. Like we all know Kyle has been incredible.
Yeah.
And Jason Stark had like a great article about
That was awesome.
Kyle Schwarber and just like historically what an unbelievable hitter he's been and what a unbelievable like free agent signing he's been in the history of like all of baseball. But there really isn't anything that gets this team going like when Bryce is on a heater and going like he can go. And I don't know, man. I don't know why anybody would be mad about it. Like, yes, does he do some frustrating things? Of course he does. All baseball players do. Can he get like into these mopey little states? Like, yeah, man, like, you know what? Guys who have been famous since they're 12 years old are weird. Like, look at any other sport. Like, guys who are famous when they're maybe besides like LeBron, who apparently doesn't have a flaw, but you know what I mean? He's still like not a perfect guy, and not like Bryce has had like these crazy off-field controversies. It's not like, he's done anything scandalous, but like,
It's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right. Look at the track record of guys who have been famous since they've been 11 years old.
Yeah.
Like some of them are a little quirky. They're a little weird. And I think the biggest thing about it is that no one outside the handful of people who have also been like that will ever understand. Ever. And they'll never get close. You can almost see like, oh, Kyle Schwarber is this guy from Indiana, right? Who, got DFA'd and all this stuff. So people relate to that, right? They relate to that more than this kid was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16 years old when he was playing JUCO ball, when he should have been like a junior in high school, right? Number 1 draft pick, like all these things. People don't relate to that. So they just have to look for other things, right? Either good or bad.
And you know what? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Because I love what you're saying. I want to add to it and then I'll shut up. I'm also tired of the narrative around Bryce that he doesn't show up to support his teammates at like events and things. Like that.
I don't think that's ever been true.
That really drives me nuts because your point about him always being in the spotlight. Maybe the guy just wants to go be a dad. Like, you know what I mean? He wants to go be a dad. He everything that you see about him when it comes down to it, like he is a dad. He's not Nick Castellanos, like my son's all over the place with me kind of dad, but he truly values being a father. Like that is because he's very close with his dad.
Yeah.
He's very close with his dad. So I think sometimes we got to like step back and be like, there's a human element to this. They spend a lot of time together. It's not that he doesn't support his teammates. We saw him with Brandon Marsh in the dugout the other night. It's just that like when he's away from the game, it's okay to be away from the game. Like it's okay to be away from that side of things and support your teammates in other ways. I'm sure they understand that part. Sorry, just
no. And like, and what normal person who might have children, right, hasn't had to make a decision between going one place or staying home?
Yeah.
Like, it happens to everybody. Not on that scale, right? Not on like, oh, do I go to my famous person's charity dinner, right? Or whatever it might be.
Sure.
Right. Or go like he's got 4 children at this point, and he is in a profession where he's gone for 30 weeks a year, probably total. He's not in the same state or like, time zone as his children.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just one of those things. I really do think it whittles down to that. It's like, it's very hard for people and fans to relate to Bryce Harper. And because of that, people will over scrutinize everything that happens. And it's been happening to him since, like I said, he was 15 years old.
Right.
So you can choose to like be on the positive or negative side of that. I am with you that this is the guy that chose us.
Mm-hmm.
He literally could have gone anywhere he wanted to.
Yeah.
If his agent made a phone call to any baseball team in the major leagues and said, Bryce wants to come to your baseball team, figure it out, they would have figured it out.
Yep.
And he chose Philadelphia. He chose here. There's going to be flaws in every human. There always will be. But like, this is, like you said, this is the guy that changed what we had been going through for a decade, you know? Like, he's the guy. He's the one that shifted the tides. And I just don't know, like, do I get frustrated at little things? Of course I do.
Yeah.
But like, overall, I don't know how you could be mad at the guy for like legging out a triple to try and get the cycle. Even if he didn't make it, you would have wanted him to go for it. You know what I mean?
I think in a 13-run game, I'm good with it. If it were a 3-run game, no,
yes,
absolutely
but
not.
exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a huge given the score and what it was. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's jump off the Bryce train after this stat. He this was his 18th home run tonight on June 25th. Last year he didn't hit his 18th home run until August 12th. He won't be starting the All-Star game. We know that.
Yep.
I hope he makes it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean his numbers do push him toward, he should be there is what I'm trying to get at. He and Kyle should both be there. All right, then they opened the series with the Nationals. And that first game was also annoying.
Yeah.
You know, they found a way to get I'm trying to remember the way that the game played out. I know that they gave up runs in the first and second innings because of Mesa as the opener, and then they went to Rangel, who was really good for 5 innings. He was very, very good for 5 innings.
1 run.
Yeah. The home run to Garcia, who just happens to he hits home runs.
Oh my God.
Marshy went on a tear in this series. He homered in that game, and then freaking Curtis Mead, who is now a Phillies killer. He turned and hit a 2-run home run off of Seth Johnson. So the Phillies sort of sleptwalk through that one for whatever reason. Like I don't have a great reason for it. Like this Griffin guy tends to give them fits. He gave him fits earlier in the year. Just a lefty who doesn't like throw hard, and
always seems to be guys like that.
Yeah, he just kind of carved him up. And I think he was out there for a good 7 or 8 innings, if I'm not mistaken. 7 1/3. Yeah, and then they went Love Lady and Beater. And that's when Beater made the comments. And then all hell broke loose the next 3 days. Let's start with the big one, Regs. Let's start with the game that followed on Tuesday night. The Phillies started out down 5-0.
Yeah.
It was a really, really tough start to watch for Jesus Luzardo. And if you followed me the last couple of days on Twitter, if you're not at the Mic Drop 5, but if you have been, then you know my frustration with the scoring in this game.
Yeah.
Because Luzardo should have a box score or a line that looks like 7 or 6 1/3 with 1 earned run, or maybe 2 earned runs. I don't remember how the whole thing sort of rolled out, but Trey Turner had a nice play in the hole. And if he takes his time, throws the runner out by like 2 steps, but rushes it over, like throws too high for Bryce, and then the inning fell apart. It would have been the second out of the inning. He gets a dude like 2 batters later, or gets a pop up with I don't know. But Jesus sort of falls apart when things like that happen. So he's semi at fault for this.
Sure.
I don't want to excuse him entirely. But the line is not indicative of how well he pitched. We struck out 14.
Yeah, it's 13 or something like that. Yeah.
It was a career high for him. He was fantastic. The offense again struggled early, but battled. And Mundo hit a 2-run home run in the 5th, and then they got another one on an Mundo ground out to make it 5-3. And then in the 8th, they loaded the bases and JT cleared them with a line drive. Wood almost made an incredible play.
Oh my God.
Twice actually. He almost robbed him on a foul ball that went out of play, and then dove and couldn't come up with a diving catch, and all 3 guys scored. So the Phillies went into the bottom of the 8th up 8-6, and Orion I'm sorry, it was
Yeah, that was Orion.
Was it? Yeah, but is that the right score, or was it? What would they go into that inning? It was
7
they went up
to something.
They went up 6-5.
Yeah,
6-5. 6-5. I'm sorry. I don't know why my math was so horrendous there. 6-5. And Orion walks the first guy on 3 pitches, hits a batter, and then Vivas comes up and hits a 3-run home run off of him. And it's like Orion the other night. This is the guy that we've seen the last few years. He's dominant in the 6th, 7th inning with like a nice, comfortable lead. But when you put him in high leverage in the 8th, he just can't figure it out. He just struggles so much. So you're frustrated, right? Like we're angry. We're like, forget this. This is another game they're giving away. They're gonna have to win the next 2 to split.
Yep.
You know, this whole negative thing, and Andrew's getting really mad at me. And then the 9th inning happens, and it's just like, you know, well, it starts off, I'm angry because the first 2 guys,
right? Yeah.
You know, we get a strike. I think it was 2 strikeouts. I think Crawford struck out. I think Rincona struck out. And then it's Trey Turner down to his last strike. Had a terrible night defensively. It was 0 for 4.
Yep.
And smokes a ball.
I know.
Into center field. Smokes it. Brings Brandon Marsh to the plate. And John Kruk kept saying it. Just get Marsh to the plate. Just get Marsh to the plate. Marsh gets an 0-1 slider that just backs up right into the middle of the zone, and he crushes it. And then the onslaught continued. Like, Bryce ropes a single. Derek Hill hits a single, like fights off a tough pitch and just loops it in the left field, bloop and a blast, because Bryson Stott hit an absolute piss missile into the second deck to give him a 3-run lead. They didn't stop there. Of course, it went, I believe it was a JT walk. And then I don't think that's right. Or maybe it was JT walk. I don't know. Somehow Edmundo doubled in 2 more, and then Crawford walked, and then Trey singled again.
Yeah.
And they ended up with 8 runs. Like, and 10 consecutive guys reached base, right? Like, what an unbelievable inning they put together there. I actually do want to see Marsh homer, Bryce single, Hill single, Stott homer, JT walk, Rincona single, Sosa doubles in 2, Crawford walks, Trey singles, and then Marsh K'd to end the inning. An unbelievable second most runs scored with 2 outs in a 9th inning in Major League history. Yeah, I'll leave it there and let you go.
I mean, it's just, I think it's what we've all been. It's just like, it's the kind of thing that you hope your team is capable of, right? Is the ability to never die and never go away. And they obviously did not have it for the first, month and a half of the season with how terrible it was going. And you've seen them, slowly climb out of it. And then the next step is putting like the fear of God in these other teams that like, God, they never go away, right? They're clicking and they're just, despite whatever's going to happen, they never go away. And you have to feel a little good because really to start the comeback, it was just the pitching is insane. Like the pitchers are just carrying this, right? They're pitching so well that they're just willing the team to these wins. And I think our pitchers kind of deserved some pick-me-up, right? Sanchi doesn't have it, doesn't have his best stuff tonight, struggles in the first inning, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, Luzardo has a weird, outing, even though he strikes out 13. He's got a weird outing. Nola does fine, he does fine. Like you said, the Meza Ronhell combo, like, they do great, but the offense just kept not doing anything. So that one was a little like it used to be, but it's leading to the next step of like this team needed to start showing that the offense could do this, that they were never going to go away, that it wasn't these, that it wasn't going to keep looking like a team that just, if the pitching didn't have it, that was kind of it, right? That was it. So I think it's a big deal. Obviously you can't expect them to come back in the 9th inning every game, but like, I think the team needed to know they could do it. I think the fans needed to know that this team could do it. And I think it hopefully speaks to the continued attitude that Don Mattingly continues to preach, with this team, is that you don't have to win every game, but you should go into every game expecting to play hard and win. Right.
Yeah.
And I really hope they keep doing that, because that's when they operate at their best.
Yeah, what they did these last few days, and we'll to highlight the last 2 nights, is unbelievable. I know that this Nationals bullpen is pathetic. It's very close to what we dealt with in 2020 with that horrific bullpen. Like some of the names on that bullpen still haunt me to this day. But God, Heath Hembry. Oh God, they're all creeping in my head right now. But you still, like, this is still a really pesky Nationals team who's in the conversation right now, and they've certainly beaten other teams. I know that they have the most blown saves in the sport. I get it, like I understand that, but it I don't think it's happened to this extent all year. Like they've had them, but not 3 in a row like this.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the Phillies are the first team in Major League history to have 3 consecutive go-ahead home runs in the 9th inning of 3 games. And the other one, night number 2, got off to a tough start. Aaron Nola gave up solo home runs in the 1st and 2nd inning of last night's game. And I texted you like, look, solo home runs won't beat you. That won't beat you. It's if you give up a couple of solo home runs in a start, you're ultimately going to be okay. If you're giving them up every inning, yeah. But Nola settled in after the 2nd inning, didn't allow another run, went 5. Again, he's probably a 5, maybe 6 inning pitcher, depending on where you're at in the game, what the score is. But he gave him 5 good innings last night against a really pesky Nationals team, like a team that put up 5 against Christopher Sanchez tonight, a team that put up 5 against Jesus Luzardo. And Nola held him down to 2 over 5 innings. Like, I think we got to tip our cap. This version of Aaron Nola, this dude's learning a slider on the fly. And it's actually been a pretty effective pitch for him. Like, I'm impressed. Anyway, Phillies battled back, scored 3 in the 4th, pushed that lead into the 6th with 2 outs. They tried to go with Jonathan Bolin, and Phillies killer Curtis Mead turned one around and put the Nationals back on top. Held that lead until the 9th inning, when with 2 outs again, Kyle
and 2
Schwarber
strikes, like, right? Wasn't
2
it?
strikes. It was. Kyle Schwarber had a heck of an at bat. Ended up walking. They went to a lefty. They went to Lovelady to face Crawford. And honestly, I probably would have I would have probably just stuck with who was out there at that point. Let him face Crawford. Crawford's he's not going to put one out.
Yeah, right.
Not that Derek Hill's a guarantee to come in and put one out, but I think he's a bit more of a threat than Justin Crawford at this point. And Derek Hill turns around a fastball or hits a fastball the other way to right center. You knew it as soon as he hit it. You knew it was gone.
Unreal.
And Juan Duran comes in and just makes everybody look dumb. Like that 2-strike knuckle curve he threw to James Wood.
Oh yeah.
Like, get out of here. Oh my God. So again, last night they do it. And then tonight, down 5-0. Chris Sanchez really struggled in the first inning, settled down. I said to Regz before we started recording that the sign of a true ace is that you can have a blow up first, still find your way through 5 or 6 innings, and keep your team, save the bullpen some innings and still keep your team around to fight back. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
He kept them in it. Some shoddy defense, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th inning cost him the extra run. But he ended up pushing through, getting through 5. Brandon Marsh comes through again with a 2-run home run that gives the team a little bit of life. And then they have it. The first, Cade Cavalli kills them. Guy's got a career like 1.5 ERA against the Phillies. The second he comes out of the game, they just go off again, battle their way back, show patience at the plate. They get 2 runs walked in. I swear to God, Alec Boehm tried to hit.
Oh my God, he did try. It's not
to end the rally, but he, did his thing. I will give Orion Kerkering credit and Jose Alvarado, 2 guys that, we've given Alvarado a lot of crap on this.
Alvi had a great inning.
He had a great inning. And then Orion with a leadoff double, but then he said, screw it. I'm going to throw 98 right at you.
Yep.
Trying to hit it. And no one did. No one.
6 pitches for 2 strikeouts, right? In the next 2 batters.
And then a weak ground. And not just like CJ Abrams came up and couldn't come close to that fastball. Sometimes I wish that's what Kerkering would do. Just, dude, your fastball's so good.
Yeah.
He falls in love with his sweeper.
Yeah.
And that's a pitch that players bang, especially lefties. They bang that pitch. But that fastball so good. So that took us to the 9th inning. And once again, the Phillies offense. Now this was a different story. This didn't happen with 2 outs, 2 strikes. I texted Regz and I was like, all right, well, it's Kyle, Bryce, and Brandon. I'm assuming we're going to see a lefty.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. No lefty. They left Varland in the game and they paid. Kyle single, Bryce opposite home run, shades of the Bedlam at the Bank swing. And then Marshy
I will be honest, when Bryce first hit it, I didn't know if it was going. I was just
I said right away, Andrea.
I didn't.
Right
it took me a second. I was like, I went like, oh my God, please. Like I was like, please. And he smoked that ball.
Yeah, he got it. He got every bit of that one. And then I'm trying to remember. Boehm grounded it or flew out.
Yeah.
He flew out to right. And then Stott flew out to center.
Yep.
And then JT doubled
Marsh home because Marsh.
Yep. JT doubled Marsh home, and then Derek Hill turned. Derek Hill turned
just
on
a middle slider.
Just hung there, and he blasted. Dude, that ball was hit 110 miles per hour.
He hit it hard. It went 441. It said.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I look. I'm gonna say this now because this is we'll get into our transition here. The Phillies still need a right-handed bat.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But Derek Hill might prove to be one of the smarter trades Dave Dombrowski made. Maybe in his tenure. Like I listen. I need people to hear me when I say Derek Hill is not the answer. No one on this show is claiming Derek Hill is the answer.
Yeah.
What we are saying is that he's a smart move from, all right, we lost an outfielder. We're pressed for something.
Mm-hmm.
He's a former first-round pick, above average defender with elite speed. And you can see the hit tool is in there. And he's changed a few things since he's come over. He's been successful since he's gotten here. I feel like every time he plays, he gets a hit.
Yeah.
And in the last 3 nights, he's had a big hit in every game. So, tonight the home run saves us from using Duran.
Yes. That was huge. It was huge.
And in the first game, it was the hit that extended the inning to get Bryson Stott to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And last night it was the hit to win the game. So I don't know, man. Again, not the savior, not the guy that is, but a smart move that costs them nothing.
I think you put it perfectly. If this guy is just a better version of Johan Rojas, it's not a bad thing to have on your bench. A little bit of speed, a really good defender, and a guy who is proving right now that he can hit and because again, if you we didn't trust Rojas in a pinch hit situation, right? It was just a pinch run. Like if he comes in as a pinch runner, okay. And even then he was half likely to get picked off just because. But if it's really gonna
Smart.
No, he seems like a smart player, like a guy who's ready for this, who wants this opportunity. And it again, I think it's like a valuable guy to have on your bench. Like you said, not the answer we're looking for, ultimately as a right-handed bat, but it, like you said, that a guy like that is really valuable as you get farther along in the season and, keeping our fingers crossed the playoffs.
Yeah. And when push comes to shove, he's a guy you can trust to come in and maybe take a base. He's already taken a couple since he's been here. He's a guy you can come in and play good defense in all three outfield spots. And maybe, give you an at bat late in the game if you're playing Crawford and they go to a lefty and, I don't know, just feels like a good move, and he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And Bryce had some positive things to say about him after too. All right, let's quickly talk about the deadline. We're going to do our perfect deadline in a few weeks, but I do need to tell you that I have landed on putting the chips in, but not in the position that I think everybody assumes that I'm going to say. At the end of the day, Regs, I hear people on the, hey, you're going to need a fifth starter. Hey, you got to have someone who can start game 4 for you. I hear it. Let me talk through the starter thing. I think they can find their way through the rest of the season with Rangel, bullpen games. Maybe someone ends up, on the shelf somewhere, or a real cheap, low-level trade for a guy that is just kind of on the chopping block. But I don't want to invest like actual resources in just another guy, right? If you're going to tell me that you're going to go get Sandy Alcantara or something like that,
Yeah, right.
Tarek Schoolbolt, fine.
Right.
But I that's not the field the Phillies are playing in.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with them sort of, and look, in a playoff game, and I'm still of the mind that Gage Wood is going to find his way here. I'm still in that ballpark, pun intended.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to end up being a piggyback to Aaron Nola. And last year they started Aaron Nola in a playoff game. He got through 3 innings. They went to Ranger Suarez. I can see the same thing happening with Aaron Nola and Gage Wood in the postseason this year. And I think it's fine. So to me, that is still, I'm pushing that back. Last week I was all for it, but I've had more time to process. I don't know that it's necessary. I think it's a misuse of resources. The bat, I'm still in on. I don't need it to be an elite bat. I think the elite bat comes if Trey Turner keeps hitting the way that he started to over the last week or so. Yes, he's had some tough games. Yes, he's had ups and downs, but overall, you're starting to see him kind of find his swing a little bit more. And you can still go get the bat. Like Taylor Ward seems like the fit for them. I know that's a name we say constantly, but it's a 1-year deal. I think it's the right fit. He gets on base a lot. It's not going to cost you a ton. Let me tell you where I want them to put their chips in, Regs. I want to go all in on Aroldis Chapman. Hear me out. They are struggling with getting the ball to Duran.
Yeah.
Like it's true. They're struggling getting the ball to Joan Duran right now. And Brad Keller comes back healthy, and maybe it's a different conversation. But what lefty do you trust in that bullpen at this point? Like Kyle Backus?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Tim Mays is fine for what he is.
Right.
Right? They tried to give him a little more leverage. He blew it. Alvarado is, tonight aside, it's a 3-2 count every at bat. He can't put anybody away. Now tonight he did, and maybe it's a building block, but I still think there's room to add. Now, hear me on the reasoning behind this, because I think, and we have been very clear about this on the show. I don't think we're guilty of this, but I do think that there's a segment of the fan base that solely blames the offense for the shortcomings of this team when it comes to October. Oh, well, the offense always shuts down in October. The offense always shuts down. History lesson for everybody. In 2023, Game 3 in Arizona, the Phillies have a 1-0 lead in the 7th inning. The bullpen gives up a run in the 7th, a run in the 8th. They lose 2-1. Again, I understand what I'm saying. A 1-0 win would be right. Not great.
Right.
We don't want that kind of a thing.
Right.
But you're throwing out Craig Kimbrell and you expect to hold a 1-0 lead. Rookie Orion Kirkring and you're expecting to hold a 1-0 lead, right? Okay. Game 4. The Phillies own a 5-2 lead in the 7th and give up 4 runs in the 7th and 8th innings. 5 runs is a good amount of runs, Regz.
I'm having PTSD.
It's a good amount of runs. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm giving that to you right now. But if the bullpen holds, the Phillies win the series 4-1.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move to 2024.
Okay.
Game 1 of the NLDS against the Mets. Zach Wheeler goes 7 shutout innings. Man, wouldn't it have been nice to hand the ball to Aroldis Chapman in the 8th and Joan Duran in the 9th of a 1-0 game? Instead of Jeff Hoffman and Matt Strahm, who gave up 5 runs combined.
Oh my God.
Or in game 2, when the same thing happened, and Matt Strahm, Orion Kirkring, and let's not forget this name, freaking Ruiz, gave up 4 earned runs to the Mets. Or in game 4 with a 1-0 lead, Hoffman and Estevez gave up 4 earned. And they ended up losing that game 6-2. Last year, and I promise this is it, and I'm going to leave it at just this one. You could probably go into game 4 if you wanted to. But in game 1, the game that you have to have in a 5-game series, Christopher Sanchez left with a 3-2 lead. David Robertson allowed 2 inherited runners to score. That's the 3-2. And then he and Matt Strahm combined for 3 earned runs.
Oh, God. That's the Teoscar home run?
The Phillies lost that game 5-3.
I was there for that.
So while I understand, and look, I'm not saying that the offense it should be like totally excused from what happens in October, because they shouldn't. They shouldn't. But even the year they went to the World Series, they rode 2 bullpen arms the entire way there. Like they rode Alvarado and Dominguez through every series. And if they had a big enough lead, Eflin in the 9th.
Yeah.
But
and those dudes ran out of gas in the World Series.
Regz, if you're gonna win with pitching, win with pitching.
Yeah.
Like if Wheeler and Sanchez are going to give you 7 innings in a playoff game, and your offense is only going to score 2 runs, but you're winning 2-1 in the 8th, and you can hand the ball to those 2 demons in the 8th and 9th innings.
Yeah.
Like the move should be Aroldis Chapman. I think about the teams in the National League, right? I think about the teams that you're going to have to beat. The Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Kyle Tucker, right? 4 elite left-handed hitters. You look at the Brewers, Christian Yelich, right? Oh my gosh, who's the other lefty that they have?
Isn't Turang the lefty?
Bryce Turang. Yes, thank you. Like like Jackson Churio's a switch hitter, I'm pretty sure, isn't he?
No, he's a righty.
Oh, is he just a righty?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Matt Olson, like you think about these teams and you got to have a left-hander who can come. The only way that you could convince me you don't need to do this is if you're going to acquire a number 3 starter and you're going to put Jesus Luzardo in the bullpen. Now you're paying that guy $30 million.
Yeah, right.
He should be a starter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about a bat every year. Every year we get the bat. And they've gotten a version of the bat, right? You got Harrison Bader, you got Austin Hayes. Bader worked out until he didn't.
Yeah. Well, he got hurt. He wasn't
Right,
working out.
Yeah, he worked out until he really couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
But like the relief pitcher they got last year was David Robertson. Right. And we knew that. And Joan Duran. Sorry, I act like that's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
Joan Duran. And he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
But imagine giving him an actual, like they can say that it's Brad Keller. Fine. That's fine. I'm cool with Brad Keller in the 7th inning.
Yes.
But what we've seen from Brad Keller, I don't trust that guy to go get Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman in the 8th inning of an NLCS game. All right, like, where am I crazy, Regz?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think it would take that kind of combo to beat the teams we're talking about. Like, say what you will, but the Brewers live off picking guys apart. And if you got no confidence like Keller, that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You need guys who are just, regardless of the outcome, you need guys who aren't afraid. Guys who aren't lacking the confidence to go out there and do what they are going to do. And look, are they going to be perfect? No. But you at least need guys that are ready for that moment, right? Are ready to be that guy in that moment. And there's not a lot better than those two dudes who are just perfectly ready for that moment. Again, regardless of what the outcome might be, because it's baseball and it's sports and things happen, but you'd be hard pressed to find two guys who have more confidence in themselves to go and do what they have to do in those situations.
The 08 team was a great offense. Like that team could hit up, down, left, right. But the real strength of that team was JC Romero, Chad Durbin, Ryan Madsen, Brad Lidge.
Yeah.
When you had a lead in the 7th inning with that team, it was over.
Yeah.
It was over. And in 09, when they lost a part of that with Brad Lidge. It was no longer over.
Yeah.
It was no longer over. And this team, despite its offensive faults, has not had, they got the closer last year, but the rest of the bullpen fell apart. Now, Matt Strom is no longer here. He has been a problem for them for the last 2 seasons in the postseason. Unfortunately, we love Matt, but he was a problem for them. Jeff Hoffman was a problem 2 years ago. Yep. And so, right now, we 100% trust Joan Duran.
Yes.
Like when he comes in the game, we are good, right? We that is how we feel. Outside of that, like I think it goes to tier 3. I don't even think I have a tier 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is one right now.
No, I mean I still trust Bolin. I think yesterday aside, like I still trust him to come in and do the job that he has been given.
Yeah.
There's not a lefty that I trust high leverage right now. Orion high leverage I don't trust.
Yeah.
So, when Keller comes back, we'll see what he's like. But go get the arm that is tested in October. He's October tested.
Mm-hmm.
He has succeeded in that month. He has made himself better as he's gotten older. And I think that he would have a major refresh and almost become even more motivated coming from a last place team over to Philly. And look, that GM's got to do a good job this deadline. So he's not going to be holding his chips too long. Like, he's got to get the right deal. And Dave has history there. So go get me that guy. Like, go get me that guy. And let's go win this freaking thing with a bullpen with a starting rotation and a bullpen that's just not hittable.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to say, oh, well, cool, we got Zach Wheeler's finally out. Like, you don't get to say that if it's a Aroldis Chapman waiting for you in that next inning, right? And then Joan Duran the inning after that. Like, the Phillies become a really difficult team, even more so than they are with their starters, when you have dudes waiting behind them. So I'm spoiling my perfect deadline, but I am telling you all right now, that is the guy for me. That's where you push your chips in. There might be other relievers that people might throw out in the coming weeks as more teams sort of declare themselves sellers, but Aroldis Chapman is the dude for me. I think he changes everything about this bullpen.
I like it.
All right. Well, that'll do it then. Anything else for the good of the cause, buddy?
No. Wonderful as always. Quick PSA. We both will be on vacation, like you said, next week. So episode the week after. So the first, full week of July, we'll be back.
Yes. So that would be the 9th. We will be back to record. July the 9th. We will be here, ready to record, ready for all of you. Excited to talk about the Phillies hey, before we wrap it, 3 in New York, 4 at home against Pittsburgh, 3 more against Kansas City before the All-Star break takes hold. I believe that's right. Am I too early?
I don't know. I haven't looked. Hold on.
I got it right here. It'll take me I got it right here. I'm just curious. Oh, they have Cincinnati and Detroit before that. But let's just focus on the next 10. 3 against New York in New York, 4 home against Pittsburgh, and then 3 in Kansas City. What is acceptable?
6-4 is acceptable.
6-4. Okay. All right. 6-4, Reg says. 6-4. They're 9 games over 500. They're on pace for 90 wins after starting 9-19. That is pretty darn incredible.
I think look, I'll take 5-5. If we come home 500, I'm not going to be overly mad.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was leaning 7-3.
I want 7-3. If you're telling me, like, what do I want? I want 7-3. Yeah. Give me 7-3.
Well, I mean, you're facing Skeens again.
Yeah.
That Pittsburgh staff is tough, but just keep playing the way that you're playing, and you're gonna find at least 6 wins in this stretch. Kansas City is bad. That's a bad baseball team.
Yeah.
And then they have 3 in Cincinnati, 3 in Detroit. Detroit's playing better baseball right now. So, but yeah, I think over the next 10, if you're 6-4, that puts you in a really good spot. Yeah. 4 behind the Atlanta Braves, folks.
Unbelievable.
All right. If you are watching us on YouTube and you haven't already done so, click that subscribe button. Go to wherever you get your podcasts. Follow, rate, do the whole thing. Head on over to social media at the Mic Drop 5 at Big Regz with a Z on Twitter. You can head on over to Facebook at the Phixated fan page, at the Phixated Pod on Instagram, at the Phixated Podcast on Instagram, at the Phixated Pod on TikTok. Merchandise link in the show description below. We appreciate you listening to us. Remember, no episode next week. We'll be back recording on July 9th, which means we'll be in your cell phone on July the 10th. We look forward to that next episode. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We love each and every one of you. Phils, keep it rolling.
Go Phils, baby.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere. This
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.